Welcome to Huff Goes to the Movies. My name is Eric Huffman II. Most people call me Huff. Some people know I love going to the movies. And if you come to YouTube for film-related content, then you're probably in the right place, so go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That way you can stay up to date on everything that I do here. Thank you so much. It is greatly appreciated. And now on to the review. AFTERSUN was directed by Charlotte Wells in her feature-length debut. She also wrote the screenplay. The film tells the story of Sophie and her father, played by Paul Mescal, who go on a vacation in Turkey. The film is really a recollection of the events. As we learn, this was all captured on a camcorder, and now an older Sophie is sort of watching these events back. And the film does occasionally sort of break that narrative to establish that it is the adult Sophie who is sort of going back and watching these different videos. But the main narrative of the film is taking place in what I assume is the late 80s, early 90s, in Turkey. We are really sticking with just this father and daughter, and it is made pretty clear that the father has an estranged relationship with the daughter. And a film like this is definitely one that I think plays well during this time of year. Though, in the midst of everything that is out right now, we have big superhero movies, a big animated film from Disney, and coming soon we're going to have the Avatar sequel, and we've got The Fabelmans, and Devotion, and Banshees of Inisherin. Like, there are so many films out right now that AFTERSUN, even with that context, feels a bit like an outlier because it is such a small, intimate film. But I think this might be a contender for Film of the Year. AFTERSUN is a brilliantly directed film, and it really does show the power of what this medium can do when you are trusting a director who has a crystal clear vision and someone who is writing with authenticity. And Charlotte Wells deserves all the praise that she has gotten up to this point, because this film is an experience. I saw this film at a small independent theater in Detroit. I have been waiting to see this film for a month, maybe 2 months. I actually know someone at A24, the person who put the pitch together to get this film to be acquired by them so that they could put it out in theaters. And so congratulations to her. She knows who she is. I don't want to put her business in the street, but she knows who she is if she's watching this. And yeah, I mean, this was a great find. And the things that Charlotte Wells is doing in this film, just from the direction standpoint, is really mind-blowing. The film has this old school sort of look to it. The cinematography is always arresting. You really feel like you're right there with the characters. And something that the cinematography does in this film that I thought was really, really special. There are a number of moments where we are not really looking at the characters in the eye. We are sort of seeing them respond to things that are going on around them, but the camera doesn't spend a lot of time looking directly at them. And so when the camera does break that mold and does sort of give you their facial reactions, I think that it makes those performances seem even more authentic. And so a major, major kudos to Paul Mescal and Frankie Corio. Their performances here really go hand in hand with sort of the aesthetics on display and, you know, the shot selection. The editing here is handled very well. There are these sequences in the films where we sort of cut to what looks like a nightclub, and there's very low lighting. And just like the way that that is dropped into the film gives you this experience of like, you're trying to remember a thing, and you're almost like not entirely sure that what you're remembering is what really happened. And it plays to great effect. And by the time you get to the conclusion of this film and you sort of understand the bigger picture, it really makes this whole experience hit even harder. It makes for something that is just emotionally compelling. And while the writing itself is not, I don't want to say that the writing is not a strong suit, but just like the writing feels so, I don't really have the words for it, but just the direction here is so crystal clear. the cinematography and editing make this so arresting that it doesn't even really matter what the characters are saying. And I know that feels weird, but it just goes to show that this film really is meant to be a holistic experience. And I could not get this out of my head after seeing it. I mean, I went to see it with one of my best friends. After we left the theater, I dropped him off at his house. I got on the phone with someone who knows someone who was sort of involved in getting this film sort of to the finish line. And just that film did not leave my head for a number of days. I mean, I'm still thinking about it. I want to go back and see it. I want to bring more people to experience this. And while this film is not made for everyone, I do think this is something that everyone should give a chance. Everyone who is an adult, of course. There are things about this film that are not really plainly stated. There are things that are implied. And while those things are left to be debated, I think that the fact that this film really hits so hard and makes people want to know more, makes people want to fill in, I don't want to say gaps, but it makes them want to paint that picture in their mind. I mean, I think it really speaks to how effective the storytelling is. And so AFTERSUN is one of the best films of 2022. It is a film I cannot stop thinking about. The direction here is just so impressive. And while this film may not be big enough to quite creep into that awards season conversation, I think that if A24 is building campaigns around everything, everywhere, all at once, they should go ahead and throw this right in there with it. And I mean, I think this is one that could be a contender in categories such as film editing and cinematography. I think that the direction here is just as strong as anything else that I've seen all year. And so I think AFTERSUN is definitely a special film. I cannot wait to check it out again. I cannot wait until more people discover this film. This is another big win for A24, who have just had an incredible year. I mean, Everything Everywhere All at Once, X, Pearl, Bodies, 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 and now this. And listen, I was not a big fan of Men, another film that they did earlier this year, but honestly, the win column, I think, is far longer than the loss column. So major kudos to everyone involved, especially Charlotte Wells. AFTERSUN is in theaters now. Playing it, you know, probably one you need to really seek out. It probably won't be playing at like all the big cinema chains, like some of the big movies that are out right now, but it's definitely well worth seeking out. Definitely well worth giving a shot to. And yeah, as you can tell, I cannot say enough about it, so I will conclude the review here. Once again, my name is Eric Huffman II. Stay sweaty, my friends. If you have not already, hit the thumbs up on this video and subscribe to the channel. More reviews are on the way. I will see you at the movies. Peace.